Hello everyone, this is Vidya from VG's Learners Desk. In this video, we are going to see Political Science Class 10 Chapter 1 Power Sharing. Before going to the topic, let me ask you a question. What is democracy? Democracy is a form of government where people are selecting their representatives directly through the election process. So, people are having the rights to select their leaders or representatives in democracy. Now, what is monarchy? Monarchy is a form of government where people are not selecting their leader. Instead, there will be always a leader like king or queen, and they will be ruling the country without any discussions with the normal people. So, this is the difference between democracy and monarchy. Now, there comes a question of power sharing. Whether power sharing is possible in monarchy? No, because there is no option for a king to ask suggestion from the people, because he is the highest authority to decide what to do with the problems and issues. But when it comes to democracy, it is obvious we need power sharing because people are selecting their representatives. So we know that in a democracy, all powers will not reside with one single organ of the government. So we need power sharing. So all the powers will be splitted according to their needs, according to their priorities. The powers are shared in different levels. That is what we are going to see in this lesson. So in this lesson, we are going to have three subunits. The first one is case study of Belgium and case study of Sri Lanka. In this case study, we are going to see how the powers are shared in these two countries. Next subunit is why power sharing is required or needed. The last one is what are all the forms of power sharing which is adopted all over the world in different countries. And now we are going to see the first case study, Belgium. Here you are seeing Belgium's ethnic composition. What is ethnic composition? Ethnic is a word which is also called as social division based on the culture. Social division in the sense, for example, in India, we can say social divisions are based on languages, religion, caste. In Belgium, the social division is based on the language spoken. So you can see Belgium map here. Brussels is the capital of Belgium, and in Belgium, based on the language spoken, it is divided into two parts, where in Flemish region, Dutch speaking people are more in number, that is 59%, and in Wallonia region, 40% of people speaks French. In the remaining 1% of Belgium, German speaking people are living. And in the capital region Brussels, we can see the scenario that French speaking people are 80% in number and Dutch speaking people are 20% in number. So here Dutch speaking people are minority. Only in the capital city Brussels, French is majority in number, but when compared to the whole country, French is a minority one, but they are rich and powerful. Dutch speaking people are very poor and economically backwards. So this led to the tension between the Dutch speaking and French speaking people, and the government was in a position to take a serious action against these things. Next, we are going to see how the government of Belgium accommodate all the ethnic diversities. Between 1970 to 1993, the government amended, that means corrected their constitution 4 times. In that constitution, they clearly prescribes that both French and Dutch speaking people will be having equal representation in the central government, and central government have been given some powers to the state government. So the state government is not a subordinate or assistant for the central government. The third one is in Brussels there is a separate form of government. Here also they got equal representation. Now in Belgium, both the central and state level, the people got equal representations. So in Brussels, French is majority in number, rest of the country, Dutch is majority in number. Now, the government decided in Brussels, the French people are giving equal importance to Dutch people. So, the rest of the country, the Dutch people are giving equal importance to the French people. So, this way, the Belgium accommodate the ethnic diversity. Apart from the central government and state government, Belgium is having the third form of government, that is community government. Community government is a new one where all the different social groups are given the power to handle culture, education and language related issues of their communities. This government is elected by the people. Like if Dutch people wherever they are living in Belgium, they are eligible to vote for this community government. So in that way, Belgian government has accommodated their ethnic diversity in their country. Next case study we are going to see is Sri Lanka's majoritarianism. What is majoritarianism? Majoritarianism is a process where the majority language speaking or religion people are dominating the minority language speaking or religion people in a country. So here the majority people are always dumping the minority people in all the aspects. So now we are going to see this Sri Lanka's majoritarianism in detail. This is the map of Sri Lanka. You can see Sinhala speaking people are 74% and Tamil speaking people are 18%. So these are the two major social groups in Sri Lanka. Now coming to Tamil, there are two group of people in Tamil. One is Sri Lankan Tamils, they are native born in Sri Lanka. Another one is Indian Tamil. Their forefathers came from Tamil Nadu as plantation workers. So the Sri Lankan Tamils occupies north and east side of the country. Here Sri Lankan Tamils comprises both Hindus and Muslims. So the Sinhala people follows Buddhism and the remaining 8% of people of Sri Lanka will be 1% of Muslim and 7% of Christians. After getting independence in 1948, the Sinhala leaders declared themselves as majority and they formed the government at the center. Now they are ready to take majoritarian measures to declare the Sinhala language as supreme language of all other languages. So in 1956, the act was passed that Sinhala is the only official language in Sri Lanka. This made the Tamil people alienated because their language was not recognized. Apart from that, many other rights were denied to the Tamil speaking people like education preference, employment reservations, even in the citizenship rights also Tamils were denied. And the new government asked all the citizens of Sri Lanka to follow Buddhism religion alone. So because of these unpleasant events, many Tamil peoples, they started many movements and they struggled for getting a separate state called Tamil Eelam. This struggle soon changed as a civil war in Sri Lanka. Actually, Sri Lanka was far more better in economics and education, but after the civil war, the whole economy of Sri Lanka collapsed. And this civil war ended in 2009. This is about the majoritarianism policy followed in Sri Lanka. Now we can compare Sri Lanka's policy with Belgium. When we go for Belgium, in Belgium country, the government has taken proper steps and they gave equal representation for French speaking and Dutch speaking people to avoid conflicts. But in Sri Lanka, it is not such a case. They followed majoritarianism, which felt other language people alienated. And here, the power was not shared equally. But in Belgium, the power was shared equally. That's why many of the countries in the world follows Belgium accommodation. Even European Union had their headquarters in Brussels. So we have seen the two case studies, Belgium and Sri Lanka. The next topic we are going to see is why power sharing is desirable. And there are two reasons One is prudential reason, another one is moral reasons. Let us see one by one. The word prudential means calculative or intelligence. So, why power sharing is needed? As per the prudential reason, there must not be any conflict between the social groups and the political order should be stable. Next comes the moral reason why power sharing is required. It is the reason where democracy is valued. So, moral reason or abstract one where we can feel the value of democracy. The next topic and the last one of this lesson is forms of power sharing. In modern democracies, we are having different kinds of power sharing based on the country's requirements. The first one we are going to see is horizontal power sharing. In horizontal power sharing, the power is shared among the organs of government. It can be legislature, executive and judiciary. Here, the power is distributed equally to all these three organs. So, no organ can exercise more power than others. Everybody will be having equal power sharing. In India, we are having horizontal distribution of power, that is legislature, executive and judiciary. All the three organs are working independently. Unless the need arises, they will not interfere in their matters. The next form of government is vertical power sharing, which is nothing but federal form of government. Here the power is shared between central government, state government and local government. In India, we are having both horizontal and vertical power sharing. In vertical power sharing, central government is having separate powers and state government will have separate powers and the local government also will have certain powers. So, they will work in their limits. Next form of power sharing is sharing with social groups. Powers can also be shared with the social groups of religion or languages. In India, we can see many constitutional arrangements were made for socially weaker section and women in the administration. The last type of power sharing is nothing but political parties and pressure groups are having some powers within their limits. So these are the forms of power sharing in modern democracies. Now we are coming to the end of this session. These are the keywords used in this lesson. Have a glance on it. And once you can go through your NCERT textbook also. Thank you students for watching my video. Hope it will be an understandable one. If you like this video, like, share and subscribe my YouTube channel VJ's Learner's Desk. I'll catch you soon in the next video. Bye bye. Thank you.